Warning, this tier list may cause intense agreement, mild disagreement, and a sudden urge to main something very new. Based on the beta, memes, and maybe a little sleep deprivation, here's how it all stacks up. Let's get into it. Quick heads up, before we dive in, this tier list is based on solo play and ranked meta during the beta. I pulled info from actual gameplay, Reddit rabbit holes, and way too many top tier matches I probably shouldn't have survived in. So if you're running with randoms, trying to climb, or just want to look cool while blasting enemies, this list is for you. It's not about who looks the coolest. Nah, I take that back, it does actually matter if you look the coolest, but it's also about who performs best when the match gets sweaty. Here's a breakdown of the criteria for this tier list. S tier. These mechs are straight up monsters. If you're trying to win games or just make people rage quit, this is where you're gonna start. A tier. Reliable, strong, and just barely not broken. You'll get results without needing to sell your soul or your cooldowns. B tier. Capable but situational. Think of these as pick me if main gets banned mechs. C tier. Okay, they can work, but it's probably going to take some effort, a dream, and a support that probably doesn't abandon you. We're starting from C and climbing to S, and yeah, a few fan favorites might surprise you. And you're going to want to stay tuned till the end because you're not going to believe who ended up in S tier. Welcome to C tier, the land of high effort, low reward, and if you main these, you either love pain or you're just built different. Kicking things off in the please buff me tier, we've got Skyraider. Skyraider, Mr. Starscream himself. Sounds like a menace on paper. He's actually great at punishing enemies who get a little too comfy holding down a spot for too long. The issue, that's kinda all he does. Whether it was his high unlock cost during the beta or just a case of limited hands-on time, Skyraider didn't quite land. Compared to his aerial rival Falcon, he's missing that mobility magic, and it shows. Falcon zips in, deletes a target, and pieces out. Skyraider kinda floats in and hopes for the best. Right now he feels like a mech still looking for a reason to exist outside of being not Falcon. If he's trying to stand out, he needs a little extra something to carve out his own lane. Now don't get it twisted, C tier doesn't mean useless. Skyraider does have some solid perks, especially when it comes to those energy weapons. When they hit, and energy damage is super effective against a lot of the current striker pool. But when it comes to standing toe to toe with the S tier elites, yeah, Skyraider is just not Top Gun material, not yet. Alright, moving on, and I can already hear the Panther mains typing. Yep, next up is one of the fan favorites, and this might sting a little. Panther, sleek, edgy. The first time I saw it, I thought, Mecha Batman with a drill to pierce the heavens. And honestly, if this tier list was based on aura alone, Panther would be S tier, no question. But unfortunately, it's not. Let's talk about the obvious first. Panther has no guns. In a game like this, that's a massive uphill battle. No range pressure means you're relying entirely on closing the gap and executing fast. And while Panther is fast and has shields for days and can stim itself into overdrive, none of that matters if you can't finish the job. During the beta's heavy meta, targets were tanky, fights dragged, and Panther just couldn't delete people fast enough to stay relevant. Most players learn the tricks pretty quick, bait the dash, dodge the slam, and suddenly Panther's out of ideas. The one-shot combo still exists, but pulling it off takes perfect timing and ideal conditions. That's the core issue. Panther feels one-dimensional. You either get the jump and pop off, or you flail while the enemy walks away laughing. Now, before you flood the comments, yes, I know some of y'all are built different. There's a small group of true Panther demons out there, the ones who push objectives, bully squishies, and make 1v1s look like a war crime. And when they play Panther, it works. That's what makes this mech so tricky. It's not bad, but it needs more flexibility to be consistently viable. One small buff and this thing could shoot up through the ranks. Until then, it stays here, for now. And that's it for C tier, where dreams are alive but struggling. Now let's talk about B tier. Mechs that are decent, dependable, and occasionally kinda cracked. First up, Hurricane, the mech that makes you question your own aim.
I'll blast him to bits.
Hurricane. Like a lot of B tier strikers, it's actually pretty well balanced. It's not bad by any means, but where it lands on this list has a lot more to do with team dependency than anything else. When paired with S tier teammates, Hurricane feels like part of an unstoppable squad. But without that support, it kind of turns into background noise. In the wrong matchups, you start to feel less like a striker and more like a scripted NPC. Its carry potential is, let's just say, horrendously low. Yeah, I said it. Add to that a slower, more methodical playstyle, and it sometimes feels like you're not doing much at all, even when you're quietly putting in work. Now, to be fair, Hurricane does have some solid strengths. Its energy weapons hit hard, especially against the current meta, and the AoE damage can really pressure grouped up enemies. On top of that, it brings shields and utility that keep the entire squad alive. But in a solo setting or without good synergy, it just doesn't pop off the way others can. Strong, just not standalone strong. Next up, we've got Narukami, the sleek, stylish sniper of the light class, and the mech that screams precision over everything. Narukami is a textbook example of a mech that knows exactly what it wants to do, and that's both a strength and a weakness. It's built for stealth, sniping, and deception, and it executes that vision well. The problem is, everyone knows that's your plan. You've got the ability to summon up to 3 clones that make you invisible when you're near them. And when you fire, they fire too, multiplying your damage potential like crazy. But the second you take that shot, your position is outed, and suddenly you're playing hide and seek with the target on your back. The clones are pretty cool, but they're pretty static. There's not much creativity in how you can use them beyond setting them up and hoping nobody reveals them. I'd love to see them get some behavior tweaks, maybe basic movement or reaction triggers to open up more high IQ plays. Right now, the loop is find a spot, line up your shots, vanish before someone shows up to ruin your fun. And speaking of fun ruiners, if Falcon is on the enemy team, buckle up. Falcon is Narukami's natural predator. Sure, you can outplay him with perfect positioning and timing, but most of the time, it's just gonna come down to who sees who first and who pulls the trigger first. That said, when Narukami does get it set up, the damage is wild. All the clones plus yourself landing shots, that's a bad day for whoever is on the receiving end. But with longer charge times, slower lock-ons, it does feel like you have less pressure on the map than in previous betas. Honestly, that might be intentional. It used to be kinda cracked, but I like to see a middle ground, somewhere between high pressure, almost one-shot sniper, and deceptive clone ninja. Right now, he seems pretty solid, and that's why he's exactly where he needs to be in B tier. Alright, let's talk about the real menace, Panaka. It's not just out here tossing heals. It's got drones, bubble shields that fight back, and literal airdropped cover like she's Amazon Prime with attitude. Support? Yes. Passive? Absolutely not. The first time I saw the teaser for this mech, I thought we were getting a Mecha BREAK remix of Stargazer Gundam, or maybe even my boy God Gundam. Instead, it was clickbait from hell. Turned out to be a support. Total letdown, right? Wrong! Panaka dropped into the game like a support demon in disguise. On release, she was busted. She overshadowed entire balance concerns that patch. I mean, she was dropping lightning rods from the heavens, doing insane damage and breaking the game in ways that made zero sense, like summoning walls through the Welkin box. I don't care what anyone says, that is just straight up sorcery, not coding. And don't even get me started on the dual shotgun style damage set to rapid fire, all while inside a bubble shield that healed, blocked interrupts, and shot back at anyone dumb enough to get close. I just want to have a quick, little polite conversation. Whoever thought that was a balance kit, just a tiny one, just, real quick, just talk. Let's have a quick talk. Thankfully, she got nerfed quickly, but even post-nerf, Panaka is still no joke. The damage was toned down to a more reasonable level and still provides strong utility. Panaka has healing drones, deployable cover, and that signature bubble shield that turns any teammate into a raid boss. At this point, she feels well balanced. Still dangerous if ignored, still valuable as a support, and no longer steamrolling every fight. She's the definition of a jack of all trades, and that's why B tier fits her perfectly. Alright, we're done with the decent picks. It's time to turn up the heat. Welcome to A tier, where the mechs hit harder, survive longer, and start shaping the flow of the match. And speaking of heat, kicking off A tier is Inferno, the ultra heavy energy attacker that looks like it was built to melt cities and make your GPU cry. Inferno is quite literally trying to burn you alive. This mech brings relentless sustained damage that ramps up the longer it looks at you. And then when it's fully charged, those dual energy shotguns turn into twin beam cannons that delete targets. It doesn't stop there though. Inferno can create after images that mess with lock-ons, making enemies miss their shots entirely. It's like this mech took notes from Killua and said, yeah, I can do that rhythm echo too.
Inferno burns everything in its way to the ground.
With the ability to generate its own energy on demand, Inferno loves hovering just right out of reach of melting opponents from the sky. You'll see it punishing slower targets and anyone too clumsy to escape. Now, it's not flawless. Some players found that the firing mechanics were a little clunky in the last beta, and if you're mismanaging your cooldowns, you're just kind of floating there, waiting to get cooked. But overall, Inferno's a monster. Pressure, presence, pure firepower, and A tier without a doubt. Also, one thing to keep in mind though, Inferno is locked behind a battle pass for every beta. So most players never even got a chance to touch the thing. Most of us only use it in either practice matches or custom rooms. So its true potential might still be slept on. Next up is Falcon, the light class aerial ace who didn't just choose mobility, it became it. The mech fully embraced mobility is a lifestyle philosophy and never looked back. Falcon is all about speed, style, and surgical strikes. With its fighter jet transformation, it's in and out of fights before most mechs can even turn around. It's the kind of striker that makes you feel like you're in a highlight reel, if you can control it. Falcon is fast, like blink and half your HP is gone type fast. With its fighter jet transformation, it zooms in, deletes a target, and vanishes before most mechs can even react. It's the king of hit and run, and if you're not tracking him carefully, he will make you pay for it. What makes Falcon so strong isn't just its speed, it's how well that speed pairs with its burst potential. It gets in your face, dumps damage, and is halfway across the map before your team even finishes pinging its location. In solo play especially, this kind of pressure is brutal. But he's not just brainless speed spam. Falcon actually has an insanely high skill ceiling. You have to manage things like your energy, all your different movement tech, while also managing your lock-on and also where your enemies are at all times. It's kinda insane. If you want to see a really in-depth guide on the movement tech for Falcon and just gameplay in general, I have a friend that I've played with before named Domination. I'm gonna put a link to his video somewhere in one of these corners. Yeah, it'll be somewhere up there. But check out his video, it's really cool, and in my opinion, he might be the best overall Falcon player I've ever seen. Anytime I watch any clip of him ever, it looks like an insane highlight reel and he's just playing the game. I mean, the guy plays with Gundam sticks. I mean, I rest my case. I'm actually curious now where Domo would place Falcon in a tier list. now that I'm thinking about it. But honestly, overall, Falcon brings an unmatched level of tempo and control and pressure to the game. That's A tier dominance right there. So that's where I was. Now let's shift gears from fighter jets to long range threats. Next up is Aquila, the heavy sniper that said, "Why chase you down when I can delete you from across the map?" Aquila brings some of the best map pressure in the game. This thing owns space. Set it up in a good spot and you're basically drawing red zones on the map that enemies avoid by default. Its new ability takes it even further, letting Aquila lock onto multiple targets and fire simultaneously without dropping damage. That kind of multi-target burst makes it dangerous not in just duels, but in full-blown teamfights too. And the best part? Aquila does all this while hovering in midair, perched on high ground like a predator with a scope. You're not just watching the fight, you're orchestrating it. As long as you don't get lazy and just float in place like a turret, you can keep repositioning, reading enemy movements, and baiting targets exactly where you want them. You're not chasing fights, you're setting the pace, always watching, always in control. Aquila may not be flashy, but it's consistent, oppressive, and absolutely A tier when played with intent. Before we break into S tier monsters, we've got one last A tier mech to talk about, Aleseness. The medium-class lance and shield brawler who simply refuses to die. Like genuinely, you will get tired before it does. At the very top of A tier, we have Aleseness. And honestly, it's no surprise. He's basically the poster boy of Mecha BREAK. And for good reason. If the devs had a blueprint for a perfect mech design, this guy's it. Like a finely crafted blade, Aleseness just feels right. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be, or whatever Thanos said. Offense, defense, he does both, and he does them well. His shield isn't just for blocking, it can set up brutal counterattacks when timed right. His lance brings solid damage and opens up nasty combo chains. Even his guns are no joke. They help him mix things up and keep you guessing. But here's where it gets wild. Aleseness is ridiculously hard to kill. When he drops to 1 HP, he sheds his armor, becoming lighter, faster, and way more dangerous. Sure, he's squishier, but the burst in agility and combo speed more than makes up for it. You basically become anime protagonist mode. And if you manage to survive long enough, and trust me, it's not that hard, you can recall your armor, reset, and start the cycle all over again. It's like you become an unofficial raid boss. Yeah, there's a limit to how many times you can rearm, but by then, most enemies are either tilted or respawning. So why isn't he in S tier? Simple, team composition. On his own, Aleseness is a force, but when you drop him next to the actual S tier squad, and they're all working together, it starts feeling unfair. Like, why did I even queue? Kind of unfair. There's just no winning against that lineup, or at least it feels that way. That being said, the last one or two strikers alongside that S tier striker lineup will all feel that way. The only difference is a different flavor of OP. So yeah, top of A tier, not quite broken, but real close. Alright, here we are, S tier, the part of the list where people start yelling broken and overpowered in the comments. But let me be clear. While we do call it S tier, I don't actually think these mechs are broken. To me, these strikers have fully realized what their kits were meant to do. They're examples of purpose-built designs, mechs that embrace their archetypes and elevate them to the highest level. Every move they make serves a function, and that's what makes them strong. They aren't carrying matches because of numbers. They're enabling high-level gameplay because their toolkits are cohesive and intentional. And here's the cool part. All but one of these S tier picks have been around since the very first beta, and players are still pushing their limits, finding new tech, and getting results. That says a lot. So instead of nerfing them into the ground, I think future balance changes should be built up, using these mechs as a blueprint for what great design looks like. Let's raise the floor, not lower the ceiling. With that said, let's break down the absolute best strikers in Mecha BREAK. First up in S tier, we've got Stego, the ultra heavy missile platform that basically said, what if my entire kit was the final boss phase? This mech doesn't just pressure the battlefield, it obliterates it. Originally launched alongside Panaka, Stego's debut was totally overshadowed by the chaos of the Panaka incident. That might explain why parts of its kit feel a little overtuned. It's possible he was meant to match your power level back then, but now he finally has some room to breathe. And what we're seeing is a striker that's fearsome without feeling tyrannically oppressive. Stego offers a true alternative to Tricera's playstyle. While Tricera mows down targets with its multiple Gatling guns, Stego dominates by controlling zones, suppressing enemy movement, and unleashing relentless missile barrages. He's what I wish Falcon and Sky Raider's dynamic felt like. Purpose-built, synergistic, and able to shift the momentum of a match. The synergy potential here is no joke either. Pairing Stego with his heavyweight partner in crime Tricera is devastating. They can lock down an entire front if positioned correctly. But what really caught me off guard was how well he pairs with Narukami. Stego can release these cloaking particles that literally make teammates vanish during teamfights, similar to how Narukami's shield can also make himself, his drones, and also teammates vanish as well. So that, coupled with the clones, as well as Narukami's sniper burst, nasty. And with nearly 90k HP, Stego's not just hard to kill, he's built to absorb damage and keep pushing forward. He doesn't just dish it out, he creates entire zones of denial. Trying to take an objective inside Stego's territory is basically asking to get deleted. The wild part, he's still relatively new, and players are still discovering new tech. Between the missile tech, cloaking support, and positioning-based zone control, there's so much potential left to unlock. For all these reasons, flexibility, raw power, team synergy, and consistency, Stego earns his place in S tier without question. He's not broken, he's just brilliantly designed. Next up in S tier is my boy, Welkin. The heavy brawler with red comet energy all over him. First time I saw this mech, I thought, yeah, they were definitely thinking about Charm. And honestly, it even plays like how the red comet would feel. Fast, brutal, and unapologetically aggressive. The beauty of Welkin is in the simplicity. While other strikers make you flip between weapon sets or juggle cooldowns like a rhythm game, Welkin says, nah, you've got your axe on one button, your shoulder-mounted grenade launcher on the other, and everything else flows naturally. No weapon switching, no delay, just pure, responsive carnage. And of course, we have to talk about the iconic Welkin box, his deployable cage that locks enemies in for what feels like an eternity. Is it really 3 minutes? I mean, Bonesaw might think so.
You're going nowhere. I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of heat time.
Nah, it's closer to 3 seconds, but ask anyone who's been caught in it and actually eaten a full axe combo, they'll swear they lived through a cutscene. Oh, and did I mention he spins? Yeah, our guy Welkin Beyblades straight through faces. He's not just here to hit hard, he's here to put on a show. On top of all that, he comes loaded with frontline tools, a flashbang style blinder that disorients anyone who dares stare too long, and energy dampening particles that reduce incoming energy weapon damage. Huge, especially in a meta full of lasers and beams. Welkin isn't just a brawler, he's a frontline disruptor. He locks down priority targets, splits up pushes, and forces enemies to either back off or get shredded. And with his high skill ceiling, the more you play him, the better he gets. Personally, I don't think I'll ever get tired of playing this mech. He's fast, he's tanky, he's got style. and he earns his place in S tier not because he's broken, but because he's brilliantly tuned. Welkin doesn't carry games for free. He rewards timing, pressure, and presence. And for me, he's everything I want in a striker. Only 2 strikers left to go, and I'll be honest, I almost put these 2 in a tier above S, not even joking. The reason, as of right now, I don't think either of them has a true counter in the game. They dominate their roles so well, they bend the match around them. But almost like the devs read my mind, they announced 2 new strikers coming at launch, and based on what we've seen, these newcomers might be exactly the counters we've been waiting for. So for now, they stay at the top of S tier, but we'll see if that changes on release. Let's break down the final 2. First of the 2 nearly above S tier is Lumine, the light support healer who's basically a mosquito with wings, healing your entire team while buzzing circles around the enemy. The first time I saw this mech, it immediately locked in a headcanon I will never let go of. The devs were definitely influenced by X-Steel. If you know, you know. Those fire wings, straight up Phoenix fire wings. Those healing guns, they're rectifiers, no question. And if that triggered a core memory, you're a real one. But nostalgia aside, Lumine earns her S tier spot with performance alone. She's not just fast, she's borderline unkillable. With constant aerial mobility, tiny hitboxes, and the ability to funnel herself energy to keep her hovering just out of reach, pinning her down is basically a myth. And it's not just about staying alive. Lumine supports at the same time. She emits an energy aura that boosts ally mobility just by being near them. When you need to flip the switch, the same aura can become a healing field to stabilize your whole squad. Still not enough? She also deploys healing drones that restore multiple teammates at once. Or, plot twist, the same drones can be swapped to deal damage over time, making them perfect for harassing and denying objectives. Trying to cap a point while Lumine is around? Good luck. The drone cloud hits harder than you think. And I cannot stress this enough. Lumine is the most elusive striker in this game. If you ever thought there's no way a team could win by just running away, Lumine is here to prove you wrong. She's the wind, the healer, the hit and run specialist, and the reason some teams just never die. So yeah, she's S tier. Not just because she's well designed, but because she might actually be a little broken. Depending on how hard the new launch strikers counter her, if they don't hit the mark, I might seriously have to bump her into her own tier above the rest. And to wrap up the list, we've got that last and maybe most dangerous striker in S tier, Tricera, the walking fortress. And let's be honest, a straight up Mecha BREAK remix of Heavy Arms Gundam, and I love them for that. Okay, bonus points. The company that builds Tricera and Stego in-game lore-wise only uses dinosaur names and designs their strikers to actually look like them. I'm just saying, if this is the direction we're going, give me a T-Rex or Zoid-style mech and I'm never logging off. But back to the point. Tricera is an absolute menace. It will shred anything in front of it no matter what it is. I once had a teammate tape down their fire buttons, go AFK on a payload, and come back to 4 million damage, 8 kills, and an MVP screen and 0 deaths. I wish that was a joke. It was not. Now don't get me wrong, Tricera does have its weaknesses. It's slow, repositioning is rough, getting flanked by multiple fast strikers can be scary, but the problem is, those weaknesses just don't matter. You can literally turn around, pick someone, and erase them mid-gank. Suddenly it's not a 3v1, it's their problem. And even if you lose, it took 2 or 3 enemies off the objective just to bring you down. You wasted their time, resources, and cooldowns. Tricera makes you feel like a net positive even in death. We haven't even touched on the sheer audacity of its damage output. Once an enemy Tricera enters fortress mode, your only hope is cover, or praying someone can force the Tricera to move. And if that wasn't enough, he heals himself. Who needs a team when you are the team? Overwhelming damage? Check. Nearly impenetrable defense? Check. Self-sustain? Double check. S tier? Obviously. And if the new strikers at launch don't check him hard enough, I might have to create a whole new tier just for this beast. Now, with the 2 new strikers launching on day 1, there's a real chance this entire list gets shaken up. From what we've seen so far, they look like direct counters to some of the top tier powerhouses, especially Lumine and Tricera. If that's true, we could be seeing a major meta shift right out the gate. Will they dethrone the current kings, or just add more pressure to an already wild meta? We'll find out soon enough, but you can bet I'll be back with an updated list as soon as the dust settles. So there you have it, every striker, every tier, straight from the beta trenches. Whether you agree, disagree, or rage typed halfway through, thanks for sticking around. Now hit the like button, drop your mains in the comments, and let me know which striker you think is about to break the meta on launch day. I've been OneSky, this has been the Mecha BREAK Tier List. You know the roster, now let's see if you can make your striker look S tier.